America's strangest state. No, Minnesota. We're not talking about Minnesota. We're talking about Nevada. Nevada has always been one of the strangest states in America. It's a state. It's the only state where prostitution is legal. Yet Nevada was this close. Wait, Nevada was that close? Serious? That close? Only Biden only won the state by 3 points. You would think with other states of major cities like Illinois and New York, if you compare Nevada to New York and Illinois voted for Biden by 16 and New York by like 21. But despite this, Nevada was only lost by 3 points. In the 2016 election, Nevada was only lost by 2. We compare it to, of course, again, Illinois. Illinois was basically only lost by like 16. And New York was basically lost by like 22 or something like that. Like 20 points. 23 points. So, why is the state so weird? Why is Nevada so weird? Considering, and if you look at the population density of Nevada, most of the people live in the Las Vegas area, and of course the Reno area is the other metropolitan area as well, and that only area voted by 1 point for the other candidate, and even places like Carson City where they won but despite this, the state was extremely close, only being lost by 2 points. And technically, the state trended rightward because the country trended more points leftward and Nevada trended leftward, which is very strange. The state of Nevada, of course, is just a strange state, and really shouldn't just be a part of like Utah or California. But nevertheless, Nevada exists. But Nevada may become a Republican state in the future. Yep. We would have Nevada as a Republican state. But how is this possible? You may ask. Here was the Nevada voter registration data. Well, Democrats only have a 2.8% advantage. In November, Democrats had a 5.3% advantage. Which means Joe Biden won the state around 3 points, meaning that if 2020 election was held today, Biden would only win it by 0.8% because the registered Democratic vote went down 3%. Actually, technically, though, it went down 3%. And that means Biden would probably win the state by like 0.5 or 0.4. Yep. That is around 3,810 more than Biden's margin. But independents would probably slightly break for Joe Biden. But registered voters, Democrats still have a 2.8 point advantage. But again, this state went from 88,000 to 50,000. Okay, which means, if we do the math, well, the state and if independents slightly break it for, even if independents slightly break it for the Democrat candidate, if it continues to drop lower, like at to 30%, 30,000 in 2024, well, that means, yep, or even 20,000, yep, the Democrats have 0% chance of winning Nevada. Even if the independents slightly broke it for the Joe Biden again like in 2020, which is unlikely to happen because, we all know what happened throughout the year, gas prices and everything. Well, the state will likely become an R+1, R+2 state, similar to Florida. Which is strange because you look at Nevada's demographics. If you look at Nevada's demographics here, around... which one? This 2020 census here, Wikipedia here. So Nevada is only 62.08% white. Non-Hispanic white is probably a bit lower. But this is the demographics of Nevada here. Which Nevada is that low for the white population, despite Nevada. Nevada is just a strange state overall. Nevada is a strange state overall. It's an anomaly of U.S. states as well. I remember I wanted to school that there needed to be a certain percentage that a state needed to hit like 60,000 people, and Nevada had that small population, despite being considered a state of America, which is pretty hilarious because nobody wanted to live in Nevada. But Nevada is just a very strange state overall. Well, we're gonna go over here. This is and of course we have this one where it says Nevada's white non-Hispanic population is 45.9%. As well, of course, that's excluding Hispanic rights as well, and especially a state like Florida. The state of Florida, it's different because most of those are Cubans, and we all know Cubans are trending fastly towards, Republicans, which people have already explained that. But Nevada's demographics is this. So, and of course, a lot of those is Hispanic and Latino, and 40% are multiracial, 11% is African American, non-Hispanic, Asian, 10%, Native American, 2%, Pacific Islanders, and others, 1.4%. But Nevada is just strange. But there is one thing that will likely make Nevada a safe Republican state: the Hispanic trends. So Hispanics are around 28.7%. Democrats think, oh yeah, Hispanics typically vote, Democrat. They trended vastly towards the right in 2020. All we have to do is go to South Texas to prove that this is the truth. Oh wait! This entire area is trending Republican, and many Hispanic areas are trending Republican. Oh no, that's a pretty bad thing. Even places like El Paso trended Republican, and El Paso is a really huge population area. Yeah, and we knowing this in the Arizona election, that this is even further as well, that Republicans are winning Hispanics by 11 in Arizona, which means if it's the same thing with Las Vegas, then Democrats are completely screwed in the state. Just like Wisconsin, well, Democrats are unlikely to win Wisconsin in the near future. Unless because they're losing the Driftless area and the Rose, well, the same thing is likely going to happen with Nevada. You look at Las Vegas, that a lot of the Hispanic areas in Las Vegas, really the city overall, has trended Republican. Which means this state, they're losing this state. Democrats are losing Las Vegas. They're losing Nevada, basically. And unlike most of the other states where Democrats are able to build up a base relatively easily, because look at Los Angeles, it's trending Republican, but it's still, extremely Democrat. Okay, Los Angeles is not turning Republican anytime soon. Same thing with Chicago or New York. Yeah, the Bronx trended Republican by like 10 points, which again is not much comparing it to 90% Democrat. Or, parts of Washington, D.C. trended Republican. Again. But if you really look at the state of Nevada, okay, Nevada is just a strange state overall. Basically, you just get whoever you get in Nevada. You just get everybody else. The people who don't want to live anywhere else, well, they want to live in Nevada. And basically, Nevada is a state that is trending Republican, despite being one of those states where it's basically most of its population is around one city like Illinois, or one metropolitan area like Illinois and New York. But despite this, the state is trending Republican. But yep, Nevada is going to be one of those states where the Democrats are unlikely to win in the near future. As well. And also because of the state, this is, you're going to see the end of the Democratic dominance in Nevada. And especially the Hispanic trends, which, if you do not know what happened in 2020 with the Hispanics in most of the country, well, after I just showed you, you must have just skipped through the whole video, or have not been paying attention to politics anytime soon. But These results for the Democrats are only going to get worse from now on. I don't see the Democrats winning Nevada, just like Wisconsin, anytime in the near future because of the Hispanic trends and realignment, and of course, just the state trend in general away from the Democrats, which is which ever since 2016, things have gotten worse for Nevada. Things have gotten worse since 2016 for Democrats. Things have gotten worse. Okay, Obama won the state by like 7 points in 2012. And 2008, Obama won the state by 13. Okay. Was the last time Republicans won the state was Bush. He won it by 3 points, even though he didn't win, Las Vegas. But he won most of the other states. He kept the margins down in Las Vegas. Which means I think Nevada in 2024 is one of those states that are considered a toss-up. Democrats, I think, still have a small chance of winning. And let's not forget the Democratic Party of Nevada is turning into like the Republican Party of Michigan. A complete and utter joke. They basically, and let's not forget the Democratic Party of Nevada is also responsible for this change in the vote sale in Nevada. Even all the polls are saying that, yeah, Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis is going to win the state. Yep, they're saying that Republicans are probably going to win the state by 3 points or even 10. Which is very bad for Joe Biden and the Democrats in this state. Again, Nevada is only 6 electoral votes. But it's still pretty bad that a state that is supposed to be a blue state has basically just changed back to a red state during the Bush years. And maybe we might see the same thing happen in Arizona as well. Which, again, Arizona is another of the states where it's basically around one city, and that's it. So, yeah. And also have to forget the Reed Mercedes gone as well. And of course, the Democratic Party basically became communists as well, which does not help them at all. So yeah, the Democratic Party has basically become like the Democratic Party of Florida. And let's forget the Republican Party of Nevada as well. But maybe the Republican Party of Nevada can make the comeback in 2022 by electing actual decent candidates and not, not Peter Meyer, who is basically one of the most fake candidates in all of Congress. Goodbye.